You ever play Link's Awakening?
Yeah. In fact, we talked about it a little bit briefly last week. You said you'd play it.
I did.
Did you
play
beat it?
No, I did not beat it. In fact, I kind of tapered off on it. And there's two things going on with that. One is that game's really cool. It feels like a kind of shrunk down Link to the Past.
It does, yeah.
And I feel like I'm losing something in it by, how do I put this? When you played it back in, or not you, but you.
Which one are you playing,
played
by the
it,
way?
The Switch version.
Okay. Yeah, the new one. Yeah, okay.
When you played it back in 1993?
Later than that for me.
4? 5? Well, no, I mean, remember the royal you, like, whoever, right?
Yeah.
Back in the early 90s. There is this overwhelming feeling of, holy fucking shit, this is on a fucking Game Boy. Which I look at that and go, yeah, no, that's fucking crazy. That's absolutely nuts. Right? However, in the year of our Lord 2021, playing that game for a total cost of $94.
Oof.
That without that caveat,
oh fuck,
has a very different feeling to it. Yeah,
the remake is full price.
Full price. It's full price.
Oh my god. Oh, that's fucked.
And it's weird because usually a game's price doesn't directly factor into my enjoyment.
Oh my god.
Except like on this is one where it's like, come on.
But fucking Link Between Worlds was full price too.
So guess what?
Yeah.
Link Between Worlds is way better than this.
Oh, man.
And that's not necessarily a slight on Link's Awakening. The Switch version has, like, okay, it's a remake of a Game Boy game with a cool, like, kind of, I don't know, it's not claymation, but it's like dolls kind of graphical style.
I saw the trailer. It's a little something going on there.
Right? It's a cool look, right? And it feels good, and that's great. It runs like shit. It runs terribly. It's double V-synced. So it's that thing where if it drops below 60, it hits 30. And it does that all the time. When you go to a new area and it pops up the text on the screen that says like Mysterious Woods, that drops the frame rate to 30.
Fuck. Okay.
It is terrible. And it's not running at like a high resolution or anything. Like,
yeah, you're getting a bad experience out of a good game. You're getting the problems of this remake at the price of this remake, but the game itself, in its
like playing
context,
this game on a Game Boy emulator is probably significantly better experience.
I mean,
and the fact that they charge full. By the way, Link Between Worlds was $40 because it was a 3DS game.
Yeah.
And guess what? I played through most of the way through Link's Awakening, and that game ran great.
Yeah, but then that was full price here. Well, I mean, here it was like 50 or whatever, but
yeah, but you know what?
That was full price.
3DS price.
No, throwing fucking $94 out there for
the fact that it runs like shit.
And here's the thing, like, that game is designed to be pocket-sized, right? So when Majora's Mask comes to 3DS, or Link's or Ocarina of Time, those are, longer experiences.
Big-ass games.
Designed for a full experience, exactly. you can justify that a little bit more or not. But like the point is that this is the opposite effect. You're putting a pocket game on like a full console price. Yeah, that sucks, dude.
It's just like, and
I would not blame you if you wanted to just track down the original game and play that.
It's a series of factors that combine to just be like, right? Especially since like I'm so far removed from the game's context that like I just can't help but compare it to Link to the Past over and over and over in my head.
Nah, this is the Windfish, man.
Yeah, whatever. Like that's cool. I do like how fucking aggressively bizarre the game is. Like it's fucking weird. Like it's out there. The Mario enemies and shit, that's fucking goofy.
But it's weird, but it's like, but this is back at the start in the early franchise. So this
is like the first weird one.
This is the establishing of that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like I figured, oh cool, Nintendo made like a remake of this classic thing. That'd be a slam dunk. Like, nah, actually. Like it's kind of a bummer. Like Link's Awakening, I can look at it now and be like, wow, this game's incredible. But this version is a really bad deal.
Yeah.
Like if it like looked like, I'm thinking like because in my head I'm comparing it to like the Wind Waker HD or Twilight Princess HD or the other Zelda remakes they did that ran well.
Yeah, those are all
and were big games.
See, that's the thing is like your best comparison points might be the shorter ones because any of those games are all like 30 hours or so, you know, or beyond if you go in heavier. But like the Link's Awakening is like 15 or whatever. It's like half of that. Link Between Worlds is your best direct comparison. And then like the other designed for pocket stuff, like perhaps like Phantom Hourglass.
Well, I'm referring to
Minish Cap,
like the recreations, like the re-releases, right? So, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm comparing them price wise, right? Like Nintendo says that this is just as good as Wind Waker HD.
Yeah, you know, and if you like you said, you played Link Between Worlds and like liked it, right?
Link Between Worlds kicks ass.
Yeah, so you've already seen them attempting this, you know, this style in the remake form before. Yeah, that sucks, man. That I had no idea that was going on with the game.
Yeah, it's a bummer
because it's good ass mini Zelda.
I kind of just like you mentioned Link Between Worlds a bunch of times. It kind of just makes me want to play Minish Cap and Link Between Worlds.
You can do that. You can
because Minish Cap fucking rules. Capcom made Zelda game.
I don't mean Link Between Worlds is a remake. I'm saying it's emulating a new it's a new game with that style, but like it's
the 2D style.
It's emulating the 2D style with the new presentation, but
Link Between Worlds is like I fucking hate that title because like Japan the Japanese title for that game is just straight up A Link to the Past 2.
Yeah. It's meant to look like A Link to the Past in a modern context essentially, you know, so yeah.
Like you want to fucking $60 up A Link Between Worlds and fucking throw it on there. Yeah, fuck yeah, as long as the performance is crazy. Like it like you can if you're curious, you can take a look at my fucking stream at any point. I'll even
Switch performance issues are not surprising me though. Like at this
game doesn't this is going to sound mean, but I don't mean it this way because like the game looks pretty. Like it's a very charming looking game. But like there's no fucking reason that this game should run like shit.
Yeah, it's a constant.
There's no fucking reason.
No, it's a constant problem that I feel like has been a thread on Switch releases of things. Has just been like they're not all optimized. They're not running at their best. There's very few versions of. I mean, anything that's ported down is you're seeing it every time. But like for this, which is like not ported in any way, that makes no sense. It's weird, man.
Like they should have just locked it at 30. They should have just locked it at 30.
And you're playing it docked, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's not even like a matter of like, I don't know. I don't fucking know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Well, I mean, if you do,
game's cool.
I
wish this version was a better deal.
Yeah, if you do keep playing, it's a good Zelda game, good mini adventure. But that does not.
I got what I wanted out of it. I'm not the biggest Zelda fan. I mean, shit. I can't even like. How many fucking Zelda games have I even finished? I finished Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild.
Well, we've been over this in bits and pieces, but you're missing that, like, I guess Nintendo childhood attachment to the Smash brands, in a way. You have some of them, but you don't really have all of them or a bunch of them.
Yeah,
like,
but even I've played almost every single Zelda game, but I'm not like in love with them. I don't view Zelda as the pinnacle.
Right. You've never really cared that much about Zelda. You don't care that much about Metroid. Mario, you've jumped in and out. I mean,
that's not true. I fucking love Mario games.
I don't think
I just hate Sunshine.
Right. Donkey Kong, we've already discussed this.
That's complicated because actually my favorite Donkey Kong games are the arcade games.
I don't believe you have a connection to F-Zero, but I don't remember.
I saw it at a friend's house and went, wow, that's fast!
You probably looked over Earthbound, but didn't really bother.
I should go back to Earthbound because Earthbound's a game that I fucking hated when I played it.
Luigi's Mansion does nothing for you.
And I played Luigi's Mansion 2, and it's fine.
Pokemon's Pokemon.
Pokemon's
in there. Yep, that's what we are. That's fine. Yeah. So, and then there's fucking.
Yeah,
that's
the
roster.
Back to Earthbound because the thing that I hated about it, I changed my mind about. I hated Earthbound because you couldn't see your characters in battle. And I was like, I hate this. And that was like the only thought. And then later I played so many SMT games in which that was the case and got over it. So I should go back.
I mean, one of my first Nintendo games was Dragon Warrior. And I underlined the word warrior, excuse me. So I got used to that, I think, right away. But you also never, I think, you didn't have any particular attachment to Yoshi's Island, right?
I fucking hate Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, it's one of the banger fucking Nintendo platformers. It's one of the fucking best at rules. So, basically,
the problem with Yoshi's Island is I don't like Yoshi.
Yeah. So running down that list of the Smash 64 roster, we kind of end up in a place where, you have loose lingering care for the Nintendo lineup.
I don't know how we got to the Smash thing when we're talking about Zelda, though.
No, I know. I guess I was just thinking about the part where I was like, come to think of it, like what you have is that thing I'm talking about. You have that for Sonic and Mega Man, and Castlevania.
Oh yeah,
but a lot of people have it for, I guess, Nintendo stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, there's a bit of a through line here. Like you didn't really connect with a lot of old school Nintendo.
Yeah, and I had access to a lot of it. I really, really don't like Yoshi. And so, somebody remembered in the Mario RPG playthrough, me and Liam just shit all over Yoshi for like 20 minutes because fuck Yoshi, he's a piece of shit. It's a fucking freakazoid.
Well, a lot of people
monster eater.
A lot of people see it differently.
I'm like when I would dabble in Super Mario World, I would love to kill him by throwing him in pits because I hate him. There's one of the thoughts that I had when I was streaming Link's Awakening, in which I'm like, this is a really pleasant game. Like that's not that's my word to describe it. It's like it's very pleasant. It's very like happy and very like I'm enjoying it. I'm not like excited, but I'm like, yeah.
And you're on an island and kind of discovering this island and the edges of it is fun. That's a part of it too.
But I've always been kind of confused at like
Thoughts on Kirby?
oh, Kirby's great.
Cool.
I think my favorite Kirby is Kirby 1. But
before he'd even copying powers?
He could copy powers in Kirby 1.
Are you talking? Okay, you're talking about the NES game. Okay,
oh, that's Kirby 2, right?
The Game Boy game theoretically is your first one, yes.
Like I make fun of you playing Kirby forever because like it's too much. But like Kirby's fun. But like I look at Zelda and like I have never. Let me backtrack. Zelda 1, Link to the Past, and Ocarina are like fucking put it in a museum level games. Like holy shit. Right? Everything else, it's like from mostly pretty good to really good with a couple just like this is trash. Like a couple garbage stinks. And like I look at it and like I don't get the like people treat the Zelda franchise like it's like the like God's gift to video games. And it's like, yeah, it's a pretty good series with some real classics in there.
And there it is. Took you a while to get to it, but
I don't think that's that crazy.
Take for the week.
No, I legitimately don't think that's that like there's some incredible games in the Zelda franchise, but there's also some fucking garbage.
Yeah, there's the ones that
Skyward Sword is fucking terrible.
There's the ones
who's gonna fight me?
The ones that people don't talk about.
Like that's why the Zelda series gets to be this mythical super series, because nobody talks about like the 4 or 5 games that are shit.
There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones, dude. But I think the strength of the strongest entries kind of takes up the most mind space.
Is that how that worked? Because like I made a tweet that everybody got fucking pissy about Resident Evil, like last year, in which I described, and people thought I was nuts, but I don't think a lot of people saw the second one. But maybe I'm just crazy, where I described that like I don't know how Resident Evil got so big when half or more of all Resident Evil games are straight garbage, are terrible. Now, some of the good ones are some of the greatest games ever. But like when I think Resident Evil, I think of 25 games, 13 of which are fucking terrible. And the what came back to me is that people only think of like the main numbered ones and maybe 1 or 2 others.
Yeah, none of
the other ones count.
No one's really going dead aim in their brains. You know,
like, and so when I say Zelda, people literally go, well, Zelda 1, Link to the Past, Majora, Ocarina, Wind Waker, and Breath of the Wild. And that's the Zelda franchise. And Link's Awakening for a lot of people as well. And I'm like, no, those DS games are terrible. Skyward Sword is trash. We can have a whole argument about Zelda 2. It's probably pretty cool, but it is a very different game.
I think in the end, yeah, it's based on how you choose to cherry pick when it's a mixed bag. And I think if you look at the way Sonic is treated, for example, right?
Oh man, that's the best one.
So, what is the Sonic franchise a one that is considered a series of good games? No, but within that list, you immediately almost have to go, let's divide it into 3D and 2D. You can't even start the conversation without putting that wall up because of how varying it is. And because if your averages start to fucking skew heavy if you put the wall up as opposed to like counting it all together. Right?
No, that's not how I count it. I go fucking Sonic the Hedgehog games, suck, and there are some good ones in there. There are like 30 Sonic games, and there are like 5 good ones. Sonic 2,
2, 3,
Sonic
CD,
3, Sonic and Knuckles,
Rush 2,
CD,
Mania.
and Mania. Rush 2 might be in there. I'm not super familiar with
Don't you
Rush
fucking
2.
ignore Rush. Rush is the shit.
But like, you want to talk about a series that is like just dreck? Oh my god. I got Sonic 3D Blast for fucking Christmas, guys.
Generations. Yeah. I didn't play Colors, but I always hear good things about it. I mean, like, there's a lot of these games that you have to go through, and a lot that kind of come and go, and you don't even fully remember. I mean,
remember that part at the end of fucking Sonic Adventure where you beat Chaos, and fucking Tails looks at the camera, goes, "All's well that ends well," and then Sonic jumps away into like a fucking 9/11 times 1,000 fucking city with millions dead.
Adventure, I will always maintain that, like, Adventure has important things that it does that are like super worth it and great.
Yeah, it taught everyone how bad a 3D camera can really be.
While also being a laughable revisit.
Did you know that if you put a fucking orca whale jumping over the camera, you can distract people from how fucking terrible your first level is?
Music.
It's true, you can.
I was gonna say, if I bring up fucking Triple Trouble, I remember my friend had that on his Game Gear back in the day, but I don't know if that was considered a good Sonic game or not.
Those Ghost Game Gear games are terrible. They're real bad. I know, I had the Game Gear, and I was like, fuck you Nintendo nerds. I don't need Pokemon. This Sonic game is in color. And I was like sitting there being miserable, telling myself that it was better because it was in color.
Hey man, never forget about E102. You know?
He's cool.
Yes. That's absolutely one of those things where you go, no, that was good. That was really good.
And then you get to play those Amy missions. Like, everybody makes fun of the fucking Big the Cat missions. Dude, those Amy and Knuckles missions are fucking terrible. Oh my god. Oh. Awful.
So yeah, when you come to look at that Zelda list, you know, I freely admit that I'm like, when I think about Zelda, I definitely think about, you know, the NES. I think about 1, 2. I think about Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Majora's Mask, Breath of the Wild, and Skyward Sword again. But that's where I'm lacking. I didn't finish, but
you're lucky.
But I liked what I played of it, and then Breath of the Wild. So I kind of come out on this thing of like, those are all games I liked, you know, and then handheld. I go into Awakening, Link Between Worlds. Didn't finish Minish Cap. Liked what I started of it. Didn't finish Oracles. Liked what I started of it. Four Swords was great. You
know what's a good action? You know what's a good fucking video game series?
I had fun playing Muso, you know. So basically, like, that's a list of like at least maybe 10 or so games that are like Zelda that were really fun. So in the end, you go, like, yeah, Zelda games, fuck yeah, you know.
Here's a good example. Like, you know, it's a series that is near and dear to my heart that I feel has the same success rate and quality as Zelda. In that,
Final Fantasy.
No, there's a lot of good ones, but there's some fucking trash in there. It's Castlevania. Castlevania 1 is just as good as Zelda 1. That game's so fucking incredible. And Castlevania 2 is that fucking weird one that kind of sucks. But man, there's a lot of fucking great Castlevania games. And there's a couple just complete pieces of fucking shit. Just holy goddamn hell.
All right, let's do this.
That Castlevania game is fucking terrible.
And then you're talking because there's everything that came like post Symphony with the Egovania style, and then there's the pre. If I'm missing a whole lot of especially early FF context here, right? But I there's through osmosis you catch wind of things. So let's just fucking do it. FF1,
Great.
2,
Terrible.
3,
Awful.
4,
Classic.
5,
Probably my favorite.
6.
But if anyone says that game is anything other than one of the best games of all time, they should be stabbed.
7.
Possibly the most important game ever released.
But you feel?
No, that's the end of it.
8.
Whatever.
9.
Really good.
10.
Really great, and also a technical marvel for the time, and the game that really solidified that even big RPGs can have lots of voice acting.
Goofy shit though.
Yeah.
11.
It's a pretty solid MMO.
12.
It's good, but it has some problems due to development stuff with Matsuno, but it's overall pretty solid.
13.
Disaster.
All of them.
Disaster.
14.
Disaster times 3. One of the best games I've ever played, and probably the best MMO that's ever been put out there.
Currently. Not, obviously.
Oh yeah, currently. Upon release, the biggest disaster ever.
Realm Reborn is a separate product.
Yeah.
15.
It's all right.
Okay.
They should have finished it.
Overall, based on that, sounds like Final Fantasy is a pretty good franchise.
Yeah, except you didn't actually. You skipped about like 30 games.
Oh yeah, I didn't say Crystal Chronicles. I didn't say My Life as a King. I didn't say Chocobo Dungeon.
Actually, most importantly, you didn't say 10-2.
Yeah.
And you also didn't say Tactics.
Yeah.
But you also didn't talk about the Legend of Mana, the fucking Secret of Mana games that got fucking ported over as Final Fantasy Legends, and those games are shit. Mystic Quest can go to hell. You didn't talk about World of Final Fantasy, which is a pile of shit for idiots made out of Funko Pops.
But when you run down the list of numbers that most people think about, that's kind of where you land. And I think that informs the feeling, you know?
Talk about Revenant Wings or Advance.
I think any of these major franchises that are tent poles of the video game industry that we're discussing have a life cycle of like mainline games that are mostly good and spin-offs that are mostly trash. You're gonna end up with an overall thought that the franchise is considered good because of that.
So I just have one thing to say, because people are taking one particular swipe at my Final Fantasy.
Like, the point is I didn't bring up Dirge of Cerberus or fucking
See, that's the thing. When I talk about a series, I talk about the whole thing.
Right. And I'm talking about the
difference.
I'm talking about the perception. Yeah. That my point was I'm talking about the perception.
People just ignore the spin-offs and the bad ones. But I want to make one very thing clear, because I just saw some guy go, I can't believe Pat likes FF15 more than 13. That's crazy. There is more personality in Ignis saying, I've discovered a new recipe, than literally everything in Final Fantasy 13. FF15, despite all of its incredible flaws, has a couple characters that I actually wanted to see talk. I could not care less about the cast of 13. And in an RPG series that is defined by its incredible characterization, that's a problem.
How is that dude with the fro?
He's okay. He's the one character in there that's all right. But he's sidelined horribly.
Damn. Okay.
Like, the fact that he cares about his son is like the only human being thing any character in that game does.
Yeah. So no, but anyway, the point is kind of just like you have this overall perception of the main thing. I was gonna say, like, with 12, I kept hearing that it's like essentially if you made I guess, is it Fran and Balthier?
That's right.
The main characters instead of what you got, the game would have been excellent.
The 12 has problems, and the problems are you can actually feel like management putting their finger into the pie, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy because the finger is Vaughn, and like, he's not the main character, but he's the one you control. And people are talking and having cutscenes, and he's like, "I'm here too," and people are like, "Shut up."
Mm-hmm.
Get out. We don't care about you. It's fucking weird. It's really bizarre. It's also straight up Star Wars. Like, it's like...
It's only bizarre if you, like, yeah, when you talk about, like, the finger in the pie, as you say, if you don't consider, like, the burden of the Shujinko that must be, like, labored over by every single suit in Square Enix offices. The main character has a lot of fucking weight to their decisions because it is what you're going to market.
The problem with that is that, like, the Final Fantasy 12 has multiple main characters, and none of them are the one the game tells you is the main character. Like, that's the weird thing.
There's also, I find, like, if you want to take that kind of issue, I assume that, like, it's because the characters that we're describing, Balthier and Fran, are the cool, mature ones that are not insert personality, but actually established people that make rational and believable decisions because they have mature outlooks.
I think the funniest thing is that Balthier and Fran aren't even the main characters, but they're so much more interesting. Is that
they're more compelling.
I would not begrudge you for thinking that. The real main characters are actually Bosch and Ash.
Oh, okay.
Because the plot is about them. And they are the protagonists that initiate change in the story. And it is just straight up about them. And Vaughn is just there. And, like, I vividly remember Vaughn walking into a cutscene saying something stupid and everyone in the party glaring at him and, like, almost muttering under their breath, like, "I fucking hate that you're in this game."
Yeah, video games...
Die, please.
The legacy of video games being controllable, interactive medium that deliver a story to you creates an interesting thing where we've gotten so advanced that we have, like, games that are, like, attempting photorealism. But, like, the idea of how much of a character should a protagonist be outside of your self-insert is still something being discussed and approached in different ways. And we're kind of like, if you write a mechanic for the character to be a template but also have these little bits that you can insert into, then that's ideal.
Yeah.
So
if Vaughn was like a completely blank slate, that would have been okay, I guess, but he's annoying and shitheaded.
Right. Yeah. You know, so it's so strange because it's like, I think everyone I've ever had any discussions with will always take an example like that and go, like, why can't I just play as the person who doesn't have any gaps in their personality, that is just moving as an agent in the story? You know, the quote unquote the cool one, or even not the cool one, but just the person who's a real person. or who behaves like a real person that doesn't have these little gaps for self-insert.
Oh, I wanna fill out some rosters on this, by the way, because people are asking. I'm sure people at home listening to this are wondering. Dissidia, great. Duodecim, great. NT, terrible. Theorhythm, those are pretty good. Those are pretty good.
All the bravest
rhythm games. What's that?
All the bravest.
Shut up. Shut your fucking mouth. But you know, the theater rhythm games are pretty good because if there was a series that could get away with like, hey, let's make our own music game, dude, there's a ton of good ass Final Fantasy music. So, okay. Right? 0, didn't play enough of it to know. 7 Remake's obviously really good. Bravely Default's great. Up until that part. Oh, man.
Tactics
X2 has a cool battle
Ogre.
system. I don't care for its tone. Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together. I mean, that's really just straight up not a Final Fantasy game, but it's pretty good.
Okay.
Crisis Core is totally carried by a semi-decent battle system, and Zack Fair being the most normal person in Final Fantasy literally ever.
But Zack, he's normal, but he's also kind of like dumb gung ho protagonist.
Oh yeah, totally. But when Angeal says, when he asks Angeal, "What's your plan?" and Angeal says, "World domination," and Zack's response is like, "Dude, that's not even funny." Like that is the most real a character has ever been in a Final Fantasy game. Somebody goes, "Shut up, that's stupid."
I was gonna say on that whole protagonist thing that like it's interesting how like we're finding convoluted solutions to these problems where Cloud, for example, in FF Remake, we had multiple discussions about how nuclear this character is to touch, right?
Oh yeah.
And how they made it work. Thank God.
Yeah.
But
part of the solution is make it so that everybody wants to touch his penis.
But you know that it had to be. But you can see how delicate it is. How fucking it's made on toothpicks that this character works, and that you don't insert anything that he puts out there that is not the memory that I had when I was playing it. Says everybody.
Yeah.
You know. So personally, I think the further we get away from that in games, the better. I think like if we can just cut out the middleman character that's a proxy vehicle to the world and just put you inside of the brain of someone who's making decisions and has again agency.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that like to be inside Cloud's brain.
Sure.
Seeing him make those decisions.
If you had a room
with their penis is what I'm saying. I'm talking about.
If you had a room full of main characters from various Japanese RPG style games, some of them would have a lot of personality that they would exert, but a whole lot of them...
And then there'd be the Dragon Quest protagonist.
A whole lot of them would have nothing to say. And if you made a full game out of that roster of these characters, there wouldn't be much, would there? You know, some would be like very lively and have a lot, but oh boy,
you'd have Cloud, Ichiban, Ayabrea, and you know, fucking Christ, even Kiryu and fucking also and Yu Narukami and Joker.
Yu Narukami would be a weirdo putting in his opinions every once in a while, but he would still be
on the other hand,
but he'd still be a quiet like weirdo. And then Minato and Akira would just sit there.
Yeah. And on the other hand, you would have protagonist / hero numbered 1 through 1,000.
You got Chrono sitting there.
Chrono, what's up? Cool, good talk, man.
Yep. Here I am. That me. I got cool hair. Do you like it?
I do. Reminds me of that anime I liked.
Yeah.
Got Fei Fong Wong over in the corner by himself crying about some bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're all losers. I love them. I love them all.
Vice would be fun. Vice would be hanging out and
Yeah.
being all enthusiastic, spunky.
But yeah, no, it's like there's some dynastic series that just even the most like is there like a single like long running like 20+ game series that doesn't have some fucking complete garbage in it?
And you got those
I can't think of it.
Breath of Fire dudes. Anyway.
Yeah, I made Dragon Quarter.
Anyway, I think
Don't forget Dragon Quarter.
I won't. I'll be sure not to. But I think it's like you see how you can kind of like throw a dart and like it's 50-50 whether you're gonna land on a walking mannequin or someone real.
Yeah.
And those aren't great numbers, you know?
It's not.
Anyway.
If the character's going to be an active participant in the story, I either want to control every single thing they do down to the detail or literally nothing at all.
And if you have this conversation and it's about a game that someone is really in love with, because I've had this before, where it's like, man, I'm sorry, but that's a mannequin. And it's like, nah, because one time when it mattered in the climax, they had their moment. So they're not that. And it's like, that doesn't... All right.
You know...
It's too close. We can't go... We can't have this discussion.
It's pretty crazy because I can't think of any type of character in a story that is more of a mannequin than an MMO protagonist. Because they are, by default, malleable into almost anything.
Because they have to be.
And 14 actually de-mannequined your character over time. It's so impressive.
Through dialogue choices?
And non-dialogue choices.
Okay.
Shadowbringers has a pop-off in which your character opens their mouth and speaks with a voice that is the craziest thing I have ever seen in an MMO.
But is everyone else you're playing with also the protagonist?
Yes.
So they've all said and done that thing?
Yes, but don't worry, it was just you.
Okay. Because there are some great contrivances. Like I said, Cloud Remake is one of them. You know what else is an excellent contrivance for a blank-ass mannequin that then emerges to not be that because you have to roleplay it? Fucking Revan and the Exile.
Yeah, that worked out pretty good. I'm playing that this weekend.
Incredible. Incredibly handled. You know? Like, I can't take enough hats off to these writers that have to find a way to make, like, mannequin is actually part of the plot, you see. You know? It's genius when they find their ways to do that.
Man,
but
it's...
Fuck, they have to, but they still have to find a way to do it.
It's pretty great. Like, those games are incredible. And like I said, I'm going to be playing KOTOR 2 this week. So I'm excited for that. And it's funny, somebody asked me, like, why am I playing KOTOR 2 now? And the answer was, I actually wanted to play KOTOR 2 in October of 2019. And I mentioned to you, Woolie, I said, hey, I'm going to play KOTOR. Are you playing KOTOR, or you had mentioned it? Because the Star Wars was coming out, the Rise of Skywalker. And I said, are you going to be playing it in the near future? And you were like, And then you played it in March of the next year. Making sure to keep that dreaded SEO optimization away. Just,
you know me.
Just wait for the word Star Wars to just completely leave all conversation before bringing the Star Wars game into the rotation. Just make sure it's gone. Don't want no SEO here.
Well, hey, you know what? It was a great game. I had a good time.
I bet you did.
Coast is clear. Do what you want, buddy.